Our new partner who I'm really, really excited to announce we are working with. Super, super stoked. Thank you, Angie Huberman, for this connect. It's incredible. AG1 Athletic Greens. I've been using them for a while. I have them every morning on an empty stomach. Basically, take one scoop and you put it into a cup or glass or mug of 8 ounces of cold water. And this is all your greens for the day. You're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Every day I take this. It's so good for my digestion, my energy. It's simple. It's easy. I don't like taking a lot of vitamins. This has been really, really helpful for me. I've had a lot of stomach issues my whole life, and ever since I've been gluten-free and taking the AG1s, it's really helped me in my stomach in the mornings. I love it, and I'm so psyched that they're part of the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm sure a lot of people don't like eating greens, let alone drinking your greens, but I can tell you straight up, it's got a mild tropical taste, and the taste is actually really refreshing, and I really look forward to it each morning. Don't think it's just going to be just straight bland. It tastes really, really good, and it's good for you, so remember that. This one blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. It's incredible, just one scoop, especially for musicians who are vegans or just musicians in general who want to get those daily greens. You can get the packets. It's incredible. I just gave some to my friend Derek from Sepultura. He traveled the whole entire world this summer, and he had those every single day. He said it saved him. I bring AG1s with me when I travel. It helps me stay healthy. You know the deal. If you're on tour and you are a picky eater, but you need to have your greens, sometimes catering doesn't have greens. Sometimes you miss the catering. Sometimes you miss the backstage food. Sometimes it's too late after the show to go get food that you like. So if you just have a scoop of AG1s in your hotel room before you go to bed, or you're in the hotel room at night and you're starving and you want something healthy, boom, life changer. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with some convenient daily nutrition. That's all you need, one scoop in a cup every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. This is it. I'm super psyched. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/OLLC. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/OLLC to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. This is incredible. I love it. It's just basic greens. For me personally, this has changed my life tremendously. I'm not a junk food vegan. I don't eat a lot of fake meats, so I'm strictly greens. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful new addition to my life. So once again, visit athleticgreens.com/OLLC. and get 1 free year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. athleticgreens.com/OLLC. Yo, Liquid Death, thank you so much for hydrating all my guests, taking care of me and my family and my friends. Love your water, love your brand, love what you stand for, love what you give back to the community. If you want to learn more about Liquid Death and how it started, listen to episode 115 with the co-founder, owner, and creator of Liquid Death, Mike Cesario. Just a punk rock skateboarding kid from Delaware with a dream. It's an incredible story, incredible journey. So if you go liquiddeath.com/Toby, you get free shipping on any items you order from liquiddeath.com. And if you want to get water, Liquid Death water, go to amazon.com. But for merchandise and other things that's not water, go to liquiddeath.com/Toby and get free shipping. Thank you so much, Liquid Death. Death to plastic, murder your thirst, stay hydrated. You know H2O saves lives. Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. As you know, is my voice. I'm going to stop saying that. I got my brother from another mother, Mr. Derek Green, with me today. Thank you, Derek, for being here.
Hi.
Thank you. And then we have Fernanda from Crypta here today. Did I say it all right? Crypta?
Yeah, Crypta. Perfect.
Yeah, I like that name. It's a hard name.
Is it for you?
No, I like the name. It's kind of hard. It's just...
I mean, like, hard as in, like,
yeah, Crypta.
hardcore.
It just sounds. I like the
okay.
name. It's hardcore.
Like
Okay. I thought it was like how to pronounce it. I was like, fuck. That was literally exactly what we didn't want when we created the name. And it was like a difficult thing to pronounce.
Well, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me here. It's such a pleasure. I feel honored.
Busy schedule.
Yeah, you're on tour right now with Morbid Angel, right?
Yeah, my dream tour, to be honest.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Morbid Angel was the first death metal band I really got into First one was Death, but I didn't quite understand it back then, so I switched and went to Morbid Angel, and it was like, okay, I really like this one. I was listening to Lion's Den and Angel of Disease. I was like, yeah, I really like this. I even remember the songs because okay,
It's always gonna be sitting with you the whole time. Yeah.
And then so I always dreamt of touring with them, but in my previous band it was a thrash metal band. I was like, okay, the odds are not that high. But then now with Crypta, that was definitely on my top 3 wish list, and then it happened. And Trey, actually the guitarist, invited us for the tour. That's so cool. It makes it even more special. So I'm pretty happy. It's been a tiring one, like so far. Like we're 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks in
already. Okay.
Yeah, but it's been tiring, but really cool. Like
your
going smoothly.
Your voice sounds great right now. Do you do vocal warm-ups?
I do less than I should, to be honest.
But it just sounds totally like, yeah.
Thing is, like, I don't have a lot of punch when I sing live, like a lot of volume. So it's really low and soft. It's more about distortion than actually using my actual voice. So it makes me being able of, like having a good voice for like 45 days, even though like the weather affects my voice way more than singing, and like talking to fans after the show affects way more my voice than singing. Singing is the easy part.
You're absolutely right.
And that's just as important. Do you know what I mean? Especially just talking to the kids after the show. Like, and if you don't, you feel bad, but at the same time, you're like, I'm trying to save my voice so I can perform for you.
Yeah. And a lot of times there'll be people that may not understand that. You know, they think you're just kind of blowing them off. I'm like, look, I can't really have this conversation, especially in a loud club, where you're over exhorting your voice.
Exactly. And I completely understand where this comes from, because I'm a metal fan, and I always used to think like that, like, oh, why are singers always like on their, like private place there, until I became a singer. I was like, I got it. I get it now. Get it now.
It's like, stay away from me.
And the thing is, like, I love talking to fans, but I have no self-control. I'm going to be screaming, fans are going to be excited. I'll get excited. We're going to be like, and then
it happens.
It happens.
Do you sleep good on tour? Like on the,
I do my best. Sleeping is my priority. Same. Because it really, like, it might sound cheesy or cliche, but us singers, we know that sleeping is the best tool, for performing every
100%.
night.
100%. Yeah.
And so on this tour, we've been sleeping like for around like 6-7 hours every night, which to me is not the ideal. When I'm at home, like I'm like 8 hours. That's my thing, but still I'm doing my best. Whenever we're driving and there's like an hour or 2 hour window, I'll definitely like prioritize sleeping than doing whatever else. Yeah.
So your other band was Nervosa?
Yes, my previous band.
And so that's thrash metal?
It was thrash metal.
And then you guys, Crypta is considered death metal?
Yeah.
So can you guys break that down for me?
I'm the worst person to break it down. Fernanda, I think you could break it down.
Like thrash and death, I'm just warning me. It's for me, it's like intense. All of it when I hear it.
Yeah.
Like I watch some of your videos of your songs. It's like it's hard.
Yeah.
Like, but the difference, thrash and death metal, is it attitude? Is it lyrics? Is it sound? Is it vocals?
I think it's lots of stuff together. I think they're both. You were right about them both being extreme. They're all like nested in the extreme metal genre thing. But I think, like, musically speaking, like thrash metal is gonna be more like we'll have a lot of that, and it's like more
like a galloping
energetic
horse. Style.
As for death metal, is usually more aggressive. Both of them are more
blast beats.
Yeah, so blast beats, faster double bass, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And usually, vocals in death metal are more aggressive too.
Okay.
There can be more guttural and growling and stuff like that. And lyrically, I also can feel the difference.
Okay.
Mainly now, like being the lyricist for Crypta and also for Nervosa. That was actually a struggle that I had, because to me, like I was in Nervosa for a decade. So I was pretty used to writing, you know, like protest lyrics, and that's pretty common in thrash metal. And to me, it was like easy because I do that all the time on my social media. I'm always protesting stuff. So it was really easy. So when we changed to death metal, because usually the themes around death metal are going to be like either gory stuff or like more obscure stuff, like demons and stuff like that. And both of these stuff, they're really not things I would have, you know, like a good repertoire on that. So I was struggling on the beginning. I was like, I will not feel comfortable singing, like, you know, like I can definitely listen to Cannibal Corpse, one of my favorite bands, but I would not be singing like "fucked with a knife." I was like, I cannot.
I was taken aback when I was like, "Ooh, is that what he's saying?"
Yeah,
Cannibal Corpse. Okay, I know that.
We're just talking about them.
I would not, although I know many of their songs by heart, I would not be able to write that, you know, like, so to me it was an interesting process on transitioning from thrash metal to death metal and still write something I feel comfortable about. So what I decided to do is writing about these more like gloomy, obscure stuff, but more towards the psychological, like dark stuff we all go through. And you have a little bit of that in our first album, Echoes of the Soul, but definitely on our next album there's gonna be more of that. But on Echoes of the Soul, I couldn't help it, and I wrote like 3 protest songs. I was just so used to it. I was like,
that's you though.
Okay.
You're not trying to fake it or force it, you know what I mean? That's you.
So they are protest songs, but still like more aggressive, and like we have a song called Starvation that's, well, it talks about people starving and stuff like that. So it's a political song, but still like I depict it in a very, you know, like death metal way. I described a person actually starving, like infection spreads over my body, my body eats itself to survive, like talking about the cells eating themselves and the muscles, tissue and stuff like that. So I was doing my best on combining both words. But for our new album, it's definitely going to be more about this psychological, dark stuff we all go through. Because I still wanted to write lyrics people could read or listen to and think about that. And, you know, like maybe opening
even identify with.
That's my main
Relate
goal.
to everybody.
And last night, I'm sorry, I'm a chatterbox.
I love it. I fucking love it.
I'm connecting like a subject to another. And I was talking to a friend. She showed up at the concert last night, and she's got like anxiety problems the same way I do. And I was like, okay, so read these 2 lyrics here I wrote for the new album. And she was reading and crying. She was like, dude, it sounds like I want to print it and put it on my wall, because that's exactly what I've been through, and that's what I wanted, you know, like, because sometimes when we go through some dark shit, are we so
I can say whatever you want.
Are we allowed? So when we go through some dark shit, dark
oh my
fucking
goodness,
sorry,
language.
We often feel alone and, you know, like not understood and stuff like that. So I wanted on this album, this new album, I wanted the lyrics to be, you know, like some sort of comfort. They're still like pretty hard, but comforting in a way.
That's cool.
Yeah. Who would be a thrash metal band that I would know? So Napalm Death, they're death metal. I get, and so in Sepultura is thrash metal.
Yeah.
You consider yourself that?
I mean, it definitely steps into that genre for
Okay.
sure. Some albums are straight up thrash.
If a band has the word death in their name, they're definitely death metal? Was that not the case? I'm just asking.
Not the case. Napalm Death, actually, they have some stuff of death metal, but I think they go towards some other path, like not even grind, but
I don't know. Grindcore.
Yeah, grindcore, something like that.
Right,
yeah,
cool.
but
I love Barney, man. I know Barney for like 30 years. We toured with him in the 90s when I was so sick of it all, and he's great.
I
OG
look up
vegan, OG, like everything, man. Talk about
Exactly.
so many cool things in songs that you would never expect.
and he's very open in all his interviews,
Yeah,
and
man.
I'm not sure he's aware of how many people he can influence, but he influences lots of people with like his lifestyle. And I also love, you know, like his stage performance and something that's really important to me. So I that's another one of my dream tours right there.
For the listener, she's wearing a really, really awesome pink Napalm Death shirt, which I think is amazing to see that. Because it's black T-shirts everywhere. It's so
and
I've seen the
that's
pink
why
ones.
I love this. You know, it really stands out, and it makes. I mean, oh God, I love it. You know,
what's it saying?
Like,
Do you remember what it says on the back?
I love the smell of tofu in the morning. That's just amazing.
I love that.
Because it's a rainbow with it's a
fluffy
bunny rabbit.
Yeah.
With the clouds and rainbow.
Exactly, and the rainbow.
With the Napalm Death script.
And the best thing, official merch.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the thing. That's what I love about, because I'm all about like I'm very into death metal. I've been a metalhead since forever.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. Yeah,
but you know, like I'm other stuff too. And one of the things I am is like glitter, holographic color addict. I just love everything like that. Neon stuff. And for a long time I've been wearing, you know, like black and trying to fit into the metal scene. And from some years now, I've been, you know, like opening myself with the social media and stuff. I've been showing more of my sides to people, because I think like in metal, there's so many untold, like, underlining rules.
Thank you for saying this. It's very, very true.
And I feel like I want to break a couple of them just by being myself, you know, because I'm not forcing this. I literally love pink, and
that's,
you see all
to
my
me, that's
stuff.
punk rock.
Yeah, that's absolutely
that's totally
the
punk rock
attitude of
mentality.
like.
Yeah, and like I found like this store in Brazil. They do like crop tops for girls, and they're all colorful. With like, so there's like pink, glitterly holographic Deicide t-shirts.
Wow,
crop tops, and I have tons of them. And then I started posting pictures with them, and many girls were like, oh my God, this is so refreshing and stuff like that, because of these underlining rules. Like, for you to be a true metalhead, especially when you're a woman, that's even more demanding. Right. So, you know, like
there's no real it's a uniform you have to wear. No.
Yeah. I mean, I love wearing black.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with that, but still, if I can, you know, like wear pink and orange and glitter and holographic here and there, I would love to do that. So what I'm trying to do by being myself is, you know, trying to make other people feel comfortable with themselves in the metal scene too. You know, like,
you ever
don't
slay
have
your
to
hand
be.
tattoo?
Yes.
Wow. Shout out to my man Gary Holt, man. He'll be proud. That's sick.
Yeah, this arm is on
you got DRI?
the DRI. Yeah, it's the evolution of mankind and the Indira.
And you got a Sepultura on there. Oh shit, girl. Oh, Joey takes a picture of your tats.
This is all about music. That's my previous band, Nervosa, here. And you have Kiss, of course.
Did you know she had the S?
Yes.
That's hard.
Yes.
And you randomly have Edith Piaf too here too, like the French singer, like completely.
I love that.
Wow.
How old were you, and what was your main attraction to heavy music?
My dad is a metalhead.
Okay.
Like a harsher metalhead than myself.
That.
Yeah, he is. It's insane. So since I was a kid, I was pretty much used to this metal environment at home.
Yeah.
So, and I remember when I was around like 6 or 7, my dad would record some cassette tapes with my favorites from what he was listening to. I was like, Dad, I want this one and that one. So I have many cassette tapes, and the songs go from like Iron Maiden, of course, to Biohazard and stuff like that.
Shout out to Biohazard, man. They're coming back too. That's awesome.
So I would have like many of these cassette tapes, and I would listen to them. And so I was pretty much used since I was like very young age. And my dad used to listen to lots of female fronted or all girl metal bands. So so my dad really helped me out on influenced me on what I was listening to as I was growing up. So I would still, you know, like love Hanson and Spice Girls and stuff like that. But still, I would also have my metal side because of my dad, and I liked both.
It's cool.
And my dad also influenced me on starting playing bass because he loves bass guitar. He's Steve Harris addict and stuff like that. And so he would have an acoustic guitar at home. And then he would play like it was a bass guitar with a finger. And I just looked at that. I was like, okay, so I'll try and do that.
Wow.
And that's how I started, like playing bass and getting into heavy music. And we would also, I remember he was living at my grandma's house for a while. And there would be this leather couch and he had a couple of drumsticks. He still has them because he's always like air drumming and stuff like that. So, and I remember like the leather couch sounded so great with the drumsticks, like a real like snare, like very high pitched snare. So I would be like playing stuff like that sometimes. And while my dad was like playing drums on the leather couch, and sometimes we would switch. And
That's
so yeah,
awesome.
it was really cool.
How old were you?
How old my dad is?
No, how old were you when that started? Like,
oh, like 6, 7.
wow.
Yeah, I remember like the first band I was really into. That's why I have the tattoo here. Was Kiss, and I was like around 6, 7 when they released that MTV Unplugged.
Yeah.
And I loved that so much. And I was listening to it nonstop. So
That's
yeah,
so good,
but then it was like more the light stuff, like the most obvious, like Kiss and Iron Maiden, and stuff like that. It's the kombucha, man. Oh yeah. And then as I grew up, when I was around like my 13, 14, then I started listening to other stuff. I started being more independent on finding what I like in metal.
Yeah.
So I started listening to melodic metal like Halloween and Nightwish and stuff like that. And then extreme music came to my life way later because my dad didn't listen to the most extreme side of metal.
Yeah.
He actually started recently because of me, like me playing
awesome.
in more extreme bands. And it was like, okay, it sounds cooler than I thought it was. And then he started,
he opened his mind about it.
yeah, and now he likes Behemoth and stuff like that. So
It's awesome.
yeah, so we both influenced each other eventually. So
And so when you were in school, like what were you? Did you have goals that you wanted to play music? That's always been your dream since growing up.
Actually, I wanted to be a singer, but like singing Nightwish and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Actually,
more operatic.
Yeah.
yeah, because I was like blown away by Nightwish. Tarja Turunen was my life. It was like insane. And then I even have like vocal, how do you say, calluses, like vocal nodules on both my vocal cords since I was like 13 because I was trying to sing.
Oh my!
Wow.
That's why my voice is like this, because of the vocal nodules. So, and it's surprisingly enough, like when I mention this, people think it's because of me screaming and growling, but it's not. It's from trying to be Tarja from Nightwish, basically.
Wow.
But I wanted to be like a singer and try and sing. Like I would listen a lot to Queensryche and Halloween and Brazilian bands like Angra and stuff like that. So I wanted to sing with this clean melodic voice.
I've heard you sing. You have a great voice. Like I've heard you sing Amy Winehouse.
Oh, really?
That's
Yeah.
my thing.
I love Amy
Yes.
Winehouse.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that's my thing. I love her. I have a huge tattoo.
Oh, that's so cool.
I have a thigh tattoo. It's her, and then on the other thigh is King Diamond. Pretty clear. And then I have
Hard.
Beyonce on my.
What? Dude, I love you. That's amazing. I have
I don't know about the Beyonce.
Yeah,
That's
I'll show
amazing.
you.
I have a Prince tattoo on my butt. I have a Adele tattoo. I have, I have
Really?
a Madonna tattoo.
That's awesome.
I like
That's-
all that stuff.
That's
man.
the spirit. Like, and people
Yeah.
like lots of metalheads are like they don't like the fact that I like some
You have
pop
to only
music.
listen to metal.
Don't you think that's really bizarre
It
in a
is.
way where it's like
How bizarre?
the scene is so extreme and against, like this type of unity thing, like do your own thing, but at the same time it's very hypocritical.
Punk
That's-
rock hardcore's like that too, though.
Really?
I think
I
so.
always thought
I
it was
think
like
so,
a
too.
more open-minded.
It is, but
genre.
people tripped on
It
we
is.
covered a Madonna song in 2000. People tripped on it, but then later on they liked it. But
Right.
I have a Madonna tattoo since I was a kid. Like I always loved pop music, hip hop, and
Yeah.
punk and hardcore, and I never hid that. Like I'm just hardcore. I'm just
Right.
punk. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
what is wrong with that? That's what I can't understand.
Should be no rules.
And when people question me about that, about like my Beyonce tattoo or me singing Beyonce, they're always like frustrated, like, oh, I can't believe. Once I got a message saying like, you sold yourself, because I was singing like a Beyonce song on stories, like cleaning my house. And then a guy said, you sold yourself to pop music. I was like, wow, that's so dramatic. Come on,
super
dude.
dramatic. It's extremely dramatic.
And I always say, like, for me to be able to sing like I sing nowadays, like in Nervosa and now in Crypta, like it was... Beyonce helped me a lot with like breathing. I would watch her singing on videos and was like, oh, so that's how she does like that quick, like kind of. So
Yeah.
Beyonce taught me more about breathing than any other metal singer. So why discarding her, like in one night she can influence as many people as we're not going to influence in our whole life. So we got to give her some credit at least.
That's so true.
Right?
A great deal of credit.
Yeah.
I mean, to have that impact that she... I mean,
She's so
I wish I was
sick.
her.
can't deny it.
I wish I was her. I was like, I love her so much.
She's so... I was in a room with her, and I didn't say anything to her when I was with Rap.
Right.
It was me and my friend Jay-Z and Beyonce in one backstage room. She was sitting right there on the phone. I couldn't even look at her because I was talking to my friend. It was a crazy moment in my life. I don't regret it, but I wish I would have said something. But like it was crazy, man. I love you even more that you have Amy Winehouse, a Beyonce tat. It's so cool. And DRI and Sepultura.
Yeah.
That sounds like me. I have like a million band tattoos. Hip hop, punk, everything, pop music. Life's too short, like to like not. I don't know. Just love all types of music. It's good for your mind. I don't know. Your soul.
I mean, it also helps you especially when you're a musician. Like it's actually a good thing that you listen to other stuff because your mind expands and it's just important.
Yeah.
But well, that's exactly what I'm trying to humbly do my part on. Like questioning these things, like why do we have to like also only metal? Like I love, I'm a metalhead. Like one of these days I was listening to Blind Guardian randomly, and I was like, oh, this is so good. Oh my god, I'm such a metalhead, and so I love metal, but I also love other stuff. They teach me so like when I was going through some dark periods a couple of years ago, like the albums that really helped me navigate through this period were Lemonade by Beyonce, Back to Black
album.
by Amy Winehouse. Amazing album, right?
Lemonade's
Amazing
so
album.
sick, yeah.
And then Back to Black from Amy Winehouse and Ultraviolence by Lana Del Rey. They were literally the three albums that helped me navigate through these dark times. So, like why discarding these amazing tools and actually good sounding tools?
Right. Yeah.
Just because, I need to be a metalhead. That's just stupid in my opinion. And as long as I have, like the power to use my voice to something, I'll always advocate on these things so other people can free themselves from these, like labels and rules. And
I love it. And not to bring him up again because you do all the time, but it reminds me of Turnstile. It reminds me of this generation of hardcore,
right?
Where you can have pop melodies, you can have bounce, you can talk about how you're inspired by 311. You can have that dude at your shows. You can have a bounce. You can have all these inspirations, but still be a hardcore band.
I think it's
do you know what I'm saying?
incredible.
Like, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I learned the hard way, I think, when I was really young, that I was very blocked to a lot of different sounds. At one point, once I got into like hardcore and punk,
it was just
I was like, that's it. Anything outside of that realm, it's just not considered like cool. And I was like, but then I don't know. It was something happened where there was a conversation happening, and I was on the phone, or I was in the background, and this guy I knew was talking to somebody else who was like a metalhead or something, and I was like, "Oh, that guy's a burnout, that metalhead guy." And then that guy saw me on the street walking, and then he just clocked me.
Wow!
And then I was just like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, like okay," and I was like, it made me think a lot. I was like maybe 14, 15.
Okay.
It made me think so much about like, why was I being so idiotic with my perception of music and the scene and everything? And I was like, you should just be able to like what you like and that be it, And it really opened me up. I'm friends with this person. He's an incredible guitarist, unbelievable. And but it's just that moral of that story for me. I was just like, okay, I'm never gonna close my mind like that or judge people because they're not, in that particular part of the scene or no. I learned really early on that, but I was happy that I got smashed in the face.
But I like you, I've been like that too, like mainly when I started, I was like, no, I can't listen to anything but metal, and because I think it's a part of the scene, unfortunately. Like eventually I think all of us or most of us were going that way of like being like very not very open-minded about the genres, like, and it's all right, like if you do find yourself enjoying other music, or if you don't, it's also fine. Like my dad, he's a metalhead. He's a he was frustrated when I started listening to Beyonce and stuff like that. He was like, nah. Yeah, he's a hardcore metalhead, but it's fine. Now we get along, and it's all right. Like I take him to metal shows sometimes with me. Yeah. But also in New Year's Eve, and there's karaoke, I'm gonna be singing Beyonce in his house. So there's balance.
Have you seen Beyonce live yet?
No. And that's actually
bucket list,
but it's gonna happen soon. Okay. Because we're gonna be having a tour in Europe in the summer. The usual summer tours, and there's gonna be a hiatus in the tour where the girls are coming back home, and then I'll stay there. And I was able to buy tickets for 2 Beyonce concerts in Germany.
Good for you.
That's incredible.
Because I was like, in Brazil, like tickets are ridiculously expensive. Like it's insane. So I know what I paid for 2 tickets in Germany. I would be paying for 1 ticket, like seeing from the back and whatever. So it's gonna be worth it. And
where are you gonna see the show?
Yeah, where?
Frankfurt and Hamburg.
Wow, Hamburg.
Hamburg.
Yeah. You got friends going with you?
My best friend, she's Brazilian, but she lives in Berlin. Perfect. And we're gonna go together to the concert. It's gonna be the time of my life. I can't wait for that. Like, what do you do in between playing death metal summer shows? Well, I just watch Beyonce.
That's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait for that.
I never seen her live. I just seen her on TV perform, but she's incredible though. Yeah.
And it's good that I'm gonna go to 2 concerts, because first one I'm only gonna be crying and screaming like full time, like. Second one, then I'll be able to enjoy.
That's cool.
Wow. Do you have siblings?
Yes, I do have one sister. And
older or younger?
Younger. I'm 33. She is. Oh my gosh, she's gonna be 23. She's from 2000. She's gonna be 23.
She's from 2000.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds weird.
Year 2000.
The year 2000.
And she's gonna be 23 this year, and she's a professional goalkeeper.
Oh wow!
Wait, what?
Yes, she plays for Santos, which is the team which Pelé was playing for most of his life.
That's awesome.
She's a professional.
Did not know that. I'm finding all these new things about this.
Is she into metal too?
No. She's more into Brazilian, like funk and stuff like that. Although, like, she was pretty much listening to metal during, like her childhood because of me. We were living in the same place, so my metalhead friends would go there. We would be like head banging on our living room with broomsticks and stuff like that, like pretending they were guitars. And my sister would just like that every time. So she had to listen to metal for a while. Maybe that's why she's traumatized and doesn't listen to it anymore. Right. Might be.
Did she trip out the first time she saw you singing in your first band?
Yeah, she was really, because like, like she understood metal. She liked some. She always liked Slayer because of the beat. And first time she watched me, I remember she was very like, oh, this is so cool. She was really young. Yeah. And she thought it was really, really cool.
Especially to see it live.
Live is the thing, especially being seeing me live, because, well, you guys are going to watch it tonight, hopefully. Yeah. You'll see. It's like, all about the weird eyes.
What was the first show you went to, you remember?
Yes, I do. It was 2004. I was 14, and it was Iron Maiden.
Ooh.
Yeah, with my dad and my mom.
That's
because
amazing.
they
So
both
cool.
love Iron Maiden.
That's a great first show.
Like in Brazil, it's like very common. I see a lot of families going to shows, and
I think
it's
that's
so
freaking
beautiful
awesome. I do
to
that.
see.
Yeah.
It's really, really incredible.
I love that. Like we
Yeah.
get lots of families in our shows too. He's so cute. Lots of families in our shows too, and I can see that sometimes because the dads, they're always like so excited,
Right.
and the teenagers, they're always like kind of embarrassed. And first thing I always say is I go to the teenagers and I say, I love that you guys are coming together. My dad is a metalhead too. We've been to so many gigs together, and that's the coolest.
Break the
and
ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all like, okay, so it's not corny
Not
to
cool.
come
Yeah.
Right.
coming
Yeah.
to the show with my dad. So I always try to
That's
do
good
that.
you
Yeah.
say that.
That is amazing. So when you do you graduate from high school?
Yes. I actually
Like what were your goals? What did you want to do?
I wanted to be a journalist, and I was for a while. Like my
Yeah,
first
that's what I-
contact with
yeah.
Derek was interviewing Derek. Actually,
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So
What was it for? What magazine was it for? What was it for?
I can't even. I
And
think
it was in English.
It was in English, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was impressive because there were a lot of journalists there that wouldn't do it in English.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
So
like, wow.
I can remember. I think because I've done everything.
Yeah.
Like journalism and metal. So I would have first. I started off taking pictures and reviewing live gigs, and then I started interviewing bands for websites, and then I was hosting a metal TV show, and then I was
Nice.
hosting a radio show, and then so that's what I wanted to do. And I actually studied journalism for 3 years out of 4. And then I quit because I was a rebel, but I still do not regret. But look, I think you'll agree with me. I was like, it was the 3rd year out of 4, so we were getting ready to. I don't know if there's such a thing here, but in Brazil at least, there's like by the end of your graduation, you need to present like
A thesis.
a thesis.
Okay,
Exactly.
there we go.
So I was preparing to prepare my thesis, at least
Yeah.
the subject, and I was planning on doing a documentary on how because I love blues. That's my second favorite thing, and genre in music. And then I planned to do a documentary saying like how bluesmen used music since like it was even not blues, like the work songs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How they used is to express and talk about the times they were living in. And I had the whole idea in my mind. I was so excited about it. And then, but I was like not happy with the college very much because it was a very, well, this is going to be a second subject, but I was not very happy already. And then I went presenting the subject of my thesis to my teacher. And then she said, well, you're not going to be able to do it. And I was like, why? First of all, you're Brazilian. You should do it about Brazilian blues. I was like, but that's yeah. And second thing, and that's why I quit college. She said, you are doing a communication oriented course. So in music, it's not communication. You can't express anything. You can communicate anything through music.
What?
I was like, I had a mini heart attack and say, okay, I quit. And then I quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
Absolutely.
well, like,
Wow.
this is not, this is insane. Like how you cannot communicate,
world was
express
this?
anything through music.
That's ludicrous.
Yeah.
That was insane. So that's why I said maybe you would agree why I quit college. It was basically like that. And also I was born and raised in the peripheral area in São Paulo. So I didn't live in favelas, but it was a more like poor neighborhoods and stuff like that through all my whole life. And I I passed on this college, and it was like the reference in Brazil for journalism, and I would pay it out of my pocket. My whole wage would go to that, and I was teaching English at the time for kids and stuff. And but it was a very like
prestigious, like
it was prestigious, but it was like a very poor people friendly place, like so there would be like scholarships. And I remember my mom at the time, she was unemployed, and I was like, my full salary would go for paying the college, and I never got not even like 5%, like scholarship. And my friends who their parents would pay for their college, and they would live like on that very expensive area because it was in Paulista Avenue. You probably know it's like
it's
the top
biggest.
avenue. Yeah. And they would get like 75%. So they do everything they can to indirectly kick poor people out of college. This. So I was I was so frustrated with that place. And then that was
You're right.
Icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah. There's like this weird thing of really a negative energy I'm feeling towards poor people in Brazil. That people have, like Brazilians have on other Brazilians that are poor.
Yeah.
And I was feeling this. Like I would hear it in conversations or jokes, but it was constant because I thought like, oh, maybe it's just a joke. But then
getting shunned and pushed to the side, kind of.
Yeah, or just hearing certain slang and lingo that I'd hear when I started to learn the language, and they would be like, this person's Baiano, or this person's
exactly like xenophobic stuff.
Yeah, xenophobic. Really weird. And I was like, and I didn't really feel comfortable when people were kind of saying that. But then I started speaking out when people said, I was like, why do you say that?
Exactly.
It's like, it's such an incredible part of Brazil that you're making fun of. And majority of them have never been there.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you even know?
There's even like, because the northeast of Brazil, they're highly discriminated by other states, mainly the south and the southeast, which it doesn't make any sense because most of them go spend vacations in there. So it doesn't. But yeah, there's this thing. And also like discrimination towards like poor people, which is weird because usually the people who discriminate, they're like 2 minimum wages away from the people they're discriminating. So there's this lack of like social consciousness in Brazil, and it's weird. Like I started feeling, because I was grown up used to it, although I never agreed to it because I was the one suffering. Like I was the one being bullied about it. So, but when I started traveling with my bands like outside of Brazil, I was like, that's insane. Like that inequality in the country was like screaming to me every time I came back. And in Brazil, we got ridiculous stuff. Like, for example, in a building, you have the lift. Is it lift?
Yeah, the elevator.
The elevator that people who live there can use. And the other one is just for people who work there. They can't use the same elevator.
Wow.
And like there's a thing that it's called quartinho da empregada. It's like the ladies working bathroom. You hire someone to clean your house, usually with a shitty salary or wage, and then there's like this 1 meter room where the person needs to stay there. She can't eat on the same table as you and stuff like that.
Wow,
it's fucking insane.
That's degrading.
Yeah,
it's
degrading.
They have to wear like a uniform with like these white
so they're
uniforms.
Below you. They're below you.
Yeah. And it was, these are a lot of things that were like popping in my head when I was moving there, and people were like, oh, there's no racism here. And I was like, really? Oh, yeah, exactly. And I was just like, I don't know what. I was like, you don't really see this.
Yeah, because we're used to it.
Exactly. And I was like, man, everyone's really used to it. And I was like, I'll give you an example. And they're like, I gave them many examples. Yeah. And then people started to be like, I guess I see what you're saying. Like, I kind of said, I was like, kind of. I was like, it's not only me, man. I was like, I don't know what type of people you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
But if you were to talk to somebody else that, you think is your friend, like, oh, they're a friend of the family. Yeah. They've been in our family. This maid has been a friend of the family. I was like, that maid is taking like 4 buses to get here, leaving their own kids, You know, coming here, taking care of, you know, your family. I was like, you guys aren't like hanging out with her. You know, you're not, you know, you think you're part, you know, they're part of your family, but trust me, you know, they definitely have a different feeling about it.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to America when they have like nannies living in the house in America raising other people's kids.
Well,
it happens in Brazil.
In Brazil, that's very. People are like, "Oh, that's common," you know.
But like, I was just visioning like what you said about the elevator. Like, I've been in like the most fanciest buildings in Manhattan where you're on the same elevator with the janitor, the guy that works there. It's like all together,
exactly.
But there's
in
a
Brazil,
law now, right?
Yeah, in Brazil, like it's all the time like that. Like a couple of them, you interact with these people, which is insane. But, you know, like it doesn't, I feel bad talking about this, but once you go to Brazil, you'll notice that. Yeah. You'll notice that. And it, to me, it doesn't make any sense because like we're the miscegenation in our country is insane. Like but still like people are prejudicial about, you know, like black people and like people from the Northeast. And there's always like these jokes and like I would hear like people around me since I was a kid saying like, expressions and like, oh, there had to be a black guy. Oh, it should be like the guy from the Northeast. And now I grow up and I'm like, dude, that's fucking awful.
Right.
And like it's insane. So Brazil, it is definitely a very racist country. It is a very discriminatory. I don't know if that word exists. Yeah, discriminative. Towards poor people and people from the Northeast. We
segregated
still have
too in a sense. Everybody spread out like in different sections. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, the only reason I love Brazil. You know, don't get me wrong.
Me too.
It's
I
just
love
like,
my country.
It's incredible. Like when I'm not there, I feel that I'm missing home. You know, in a sense. But I just definitely felt it with a lot of things. You know, as far as where it's just like I don't think the people I knew who weren't black had witnessed, you know, like I got pulled over like 4 or 5 times just being in a taxi. I never saw black
taxi.
Yeah, because they either thought I was kidnapping the driver, or something,
God,
and
dude.
they had this, you know, living off of like different stereotypes and perceptions was very strong there. You know, they had nicknames for a lot of different things, and I love the definition of words, where words come from. Yeah. And I love studying that. And I was always like, where did that word come from? Is that indigenous word, Portuguese word, or Italian? You know, because there's so many mix of people there. But a lot of it stemmed from the Portuguese were there and these really harsh, racist terminology for certain things. I was like, it's coming from that, you know, like, from the roots of it. So it's really been there, and I felt it strong. You know, I was like, why are they pulling us over? And guns out. Get out of the car. And it's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, here's my passport. And they're just like, not even like, oh, sorry or anything. Just like, shh.
Yeah. And it's like, I read like lots of I follow lots of pages that discuss this, the black community issues in Brazil. And there are like many stories, they give like some examples. Like if you're a white guy running on the street, you're probably just late for work. If you're a black guy running on the street, you stole something. Police will pull you over.
Wow, dude.
It's like
you can't even go jogging.
I mean,
you go jogging.
No, they would think something's really weird.
Exactly.
Dude.
I mean, it was because I never saw black people in taxis or in like typical like. Not even an expensive restaurant or something. It would just be like no families there hanging. You know, it was like really weird. I was like, because I would be the only black person there. Yeah. So then I was just like, wow, that's weird. Like going into a place and then sometimes it was just like, oh, what do you need? And it's just like, I came here to eat, you know, and they're just like, and then somebody would be like, oh, he's in this band or something. They're like, oh, and
he's American.
The whole demeanor.
Yeah, and then when
change.
you say it's American,
yeah, everything would just like change
and
up.
the weird thing is that it doesn't make any sense. It's because the majority of people in Brazil are black people.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
you know, like so it doesn't make any sense. But I think we're slowly. Like breaking all this.
What I was going to say, the upside of this is like when I got there, nobody wanted to talk about this.
Yes.
Because I would bring it up and people like, nah, dude, it's economic. Yeah. No, it's not. It's
what year are we talking?
1999.
Oh, yeah. 2000. A whole different world.
Okay. Yeah. Like people are like, no, that's doesn't exist. And I was like, oh, all right. No.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I was like, it does.
It does. It kind of does.
Like, trust me, it does. I'm coming from one of the most racist countries in the world. I know it when I see it. You know, so, but they're just like, it's like a denial. But it's great to see people coming out now and speaking a lot more, because it kind of had the attitude, everyone kind of there had this attitude of like, don't rock the boat. You know, like, I don't want to rock the boat, you know, just kind of, and becoming, like you said, comfortable in that sense. But I looked at other places around South America and other places, and they were like in the street, you know, where certain things like really like protesting crazy.
Like Argentina, Chile. Yeah. And in Brazil, like, we usually already have, it's part of our character to be, you know, like more chill. Let's not do.
Okay.
So it took a while, but now things are slowly progressing.
And
we talk about this.
Yes.
But there's still a long way to go. And that's also a thing that I try to do on my socials, like talking about this stuff.
Awesome.
And, like, showing support and being an ally and that's it. But even in metal, there's a lot of this too. So
we talking about that,
I didn't realize it until getting into it. I was
I'm so sorry.
I was just like, wow, that really exists.
Yeah, and being a woman in metal too as well.
Oh, that's a whole different.
I mean, do you feel like there's like, and being a black man in metal, but also being a woman too, like, feel like, do you have to always prove yourself?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Since
even to this day.
Yeah. Like, exactly. No doubt. Every time I climb on stage, it varies from place to place, but generally speaking, I always feel like I have to perform like doubly for people to, you know, like, understand our worth. And the thing is, we get that are specific, like, it's going nice right now. Like, we're doing better and better with people accepting that us women are gonna be in the metal scene. But there's still like specific struggles and situations that only us girls know. Like, for example, mansplaining on stage all the fucking time. I'll like prepare I've been, you know, like, touring extensively for like 12 years now. And you know, like, I'll always be open to tips and you know, like, hey, suggestions. But like, I kind of know how to do my thing. You know? So happens all the time. I prepare my mic stand and it's low because I have my stage pose with like spread legs and stuff like that. And so many times it happened that I was like ready to sing and then the mic was here. And I was like, oh, thank you for adjusting. And then I could
the microphone was much
higher. I
higher.
basically had to do like Lemmy all the time, like, because the microphone was like that. And also, like, so here's the volume button on the amp. I was like, oh, thank you. Like, so this is, if you want, what do you like? Like, punch, heavy? Or like, I was like, dude, I don't want to be rude, but I got this. So it happens all the time. Happens all the time, us being blocked from getting in our own dressing rooms because we're assumed as groupies and not as the musicians. It happens it happened once here and during this tour already. Like, we were literally on stage sound checking and the security was like went towards our guitarist. She was like, where's your laminate? And she was like, oh, it's an event. He was like, you cannot be here without a laminate. She was like, I'm literally sound checking. It was like nothing I could do. I was like, dude, really, we're fucking late. Like, give us a break. Like, you can ask if and the thing is, if you ask, like, if a guy from the tour says and validates, so she is in a band, they're like, oh, cool. So you need the guy to validate and it happens like. It happens everywhere. Like, it happened in Brazil several times. It happened in a big festival in Mexico. Like, we needed to call our producer and like some guys from other bands were like, they're in a band. The guy, nope, they're with the bands. They're not in the band. I'm like, oh. It happened in Europe so many times. So this is a thing that people don't usually stop to think about, but we get prevented from being in our own dressing room sometimes because people assume we're with the bands and we're not the band. So,
wow, man.
Yeah, so there's lots of stuff. And like, one thing that I started noticing after I left Nervosa is that there's this whole pressure towards women in the metal scene that you don't see, or you see in like way lower levels towards guys. For example, regarding appearance, like we always like we're judged. It doesn't matter how we look like. If I'm like super produced, well, she just want to be cute because she want to draw attention for, like if you're just like I am today, oh, she needs to put like guy clothes to show she's like a rebel. So it doesn't matter how you look or what you do. It's like there's no way. Yeah. And
that sucks.
And also another thing, like comparison. I remember, like,
like,
of course, there's comparison with like all big bands, like like Sepultura and like Angra in Brazil. Yeah, but like the way I saw when I left Nervosa, I had never seen anything like that. I was tagged daily in like Instagram polls, like who's the best one, Fernanda or Diva Satanica, who used to be the new singer for Nervosa, like every fucking day. Like comparing women, which society does, once in a while. And there's always like this hyper vigilance on women on the metal scene. They're always paying attention on our every move. So it's hard. Not that I fucking care. I don't fucking
I was going to ask you, do you care? Do you let it bother you? Do you like...
No, I mean, I have anxiety disorder, and this it can be like
does not help.
Yeah, this does not help. So if I'm not very doing very well emotionally here and there, it can bother me a little bit more than usual. But when I'm like in my element, I don't give a fuck. I do the opposite as what they're saying, like,
I love that.
like, and I'm not doing that to be a rebel. It's just because, like, dude, go fuck yourself. Like,
do you let comments and stuff like that bother you? If there's something negative or something?
It used to,
but
I've been doing this for so long now that I have 3 moods when I'm reading comments nowadays. First one is like ignoring. Second is like blocking, like instantly I'm like, I'm not in a mood for that, block you. And third one is like mocking, like the guy, let me see one of the comments.
You respond sometimes,
but always in a mocking way. Otherwise, because I've learned from experience that the more you answer, the more it feeds the hater.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because haters feed from attention because they lack attention.
They just want your attention.
Absolutely.
So whenever you answer them, they're like, okay, I got them. I
Yeah.
know what bothers her.
Yes.
So they'll keep on doing that. And when you, like,
So true.
indifference is the thing. Like, because when you are indifferent to something, it really means like you don't fucking care.
Yeah.
And haters feel that. And then I was trying this social experiment with social media for a while, and then I just noticed, like, the more you answer, even when you're trying to explain or correct something, it always
You
so,
never win an argument on the internet or anything. You respond to anything, they'll screenshot it, they'll flip it, everything, man.
So I'll rather ignore, block, or joke about it.
I love that,
mock
man.
them.
I love.
And then they
those
usually delete their comments when I'm mocking at them.
Blocking feels so good, though.
It's so
so powerful.
It's
just like
liberating. Because firstly, I thought like, no, if I'll block them, they'll know I care. And I was like, no, if I block them, like, even if they want to, they will not have access to me because they are our secret fans. Haters are secret fans. Like they get triggered by something they really appreciate in us that they lack in themselves, which is pretty sad because like hate can only come from a dark place, like from a and
they follow us.
Which I don't understand that.
No.
They're awesome promoters. They do some awesome promotion of the band. And I tell them that, like, sometimes when they are, like, sharing, good like, promo. An article on my band, I was like, yo, dude, thanks for the promotion, for the free promotion. Thanks for the free press. And, they leave the comment and they leave the post. Yeah. Because that's what it is. Because, like, not everyone is, like... blocked minded like them. So basically when they're sharing like or talking about a band, at least one person is gonna be, wow, why is he talking such bad things about it? Let me check that up. And then they'll be like, oh, that's actually a good band. So free promotion. Thank you, haters. I love you all.
You check your DMs too?
That's a whole different word we're getting into right now.
You must get some crazy
because and like just dudes like trying to kick it or like, shoot their shot to you and shit like that.
Before we move on with this, can I interrupt for a second? I really need to pee.
Me too.
Oh, good.
Me too.
I'm like dying.
I'm gonna pause.
I'm into like lots of.
Back from our pee break.
Yeah. Oh.
You're into what? Cold things? No. Cold plunges? No.
No, definitely not. No, I love like meditation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this thing, it's something I still like.
We're gonna show it to you after. It's pretty gnarly, man.
As long as you don't throw me there.
No, we never do that. All right, so now we're talking about
DMs.
Direct messages to the listeners.
Yeah, the deep,
dark
side,
deep web.
I'm sure your DMs are different from our DMs.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start by what kind of DMs do you get?
It's interesting. I was gonna say something about. I've been married for 28 years. I've been married the whole time. I've been married the whole time in my band. People know my wife is a badass and one not to be fucked with. I've never got a DM where it was like, "Yo," like a girl trying to kick it to me. Somebody might heart something or like say like cute, just say something, but nobody ever tried to ever kick it to me, ever shoot their shot. They know I'm married. I sing about my wife. I sing about my son. I'm a family person. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
No disrespect to my DMs like that.
But me not being married and having a girlfriend at times.
Word.
I found that if I were getting a message from a woman, they were extremely respectful.
Yeah. Okay.
Totally point out the fact that I have like a girlfriend.
Okay.
Be like, oh yeah, I your girlfriend is beautiful.
They say that about my wife. Your wife's beautiful.
Putting in just to make sure that they know that they're not hitting on me.
That's not why they're there.
Right. They're not there for that.
Yeah.
And so it's like straight away understanding that. And that's like a small percentage of DMs. 95 to 98% of my DMs are from dudes.
Yeah.
And they're just, people are just fans of the band. So, and they're nothing like too crazy. I mean, some of them just really want that response. Mm-hmm. It's like, we're not going to be doing this like for...
I understand.
This back and forth. Like, I will respond every now and then, like, oh, that's cool, bro. Thank you. But then it gets into like, my cat today, like, what's going on, my friend? And it's like, I don't even do that with my friends, like, right that much.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't even talk to my mom that often, like on WhatsApp.
Now for a woman singing in a band.
Oh yeah, the amazing underworld of DMs. It's a whole different world. Wow, it's a whole different world. Like let's start with the.
And do you compare this with the other bandmates or other women?
Yeah, we're always discussing this and like sending each other screenshots and stuff like that. And the bullshit starts on comment sections from videos on YouTube. It starts from there. But we can also, like, for example, in Luana's drumming videos, like my drummer's videos, you will see lots of comments like, you should play barefoot. I would like to see those cute feet and stuff like that. And like, oh, I like the shorts. She's literally like using like biker shorts and stuff like that. Oh, I love those legs. And like, so the comments start there. But on DMs, we get like all sorts
pictures,
of
probably
stuff.
Everything, man.
Oh yeah, I got.
Really?
Catherine Scal mentioned it in the podcast. People send her things like that. It's so disrespectful.
We get lots of, first of all, like weird invitations. Like, hey, I want to go out to dinner and then do stuff to you after. Yeah, weird shit. And also, that's the lightest. I said we'll start with the lightest. The last thing I want to say you'll probably get embarrassed by, but I think it's important to say that here, just so, like, guys, please get better on your DMs towards, like girl bands. But we also get like dick pics all the fucking time. Like
all the time people
all
do
the
that
time.
Shit?
Dick pics, and like
but
all
it's
the
coming
time.
from their account. Like it's like you're gonna know who it is.
I know.
Yeah, and also like, what do you expect? Wow, such a nice dick pic. Yeah, I'll hang out with you. Like,
right.
No,
you got me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's ride that thing. No, I'm definitely not gonna do that. I'm like, you or like, dude, are you sure you're sending me that? Like,
ever respond to any of that shit?
No, because exactly, I don't want them to know I saw that. So I even leave them on red. Like once I notice it's dick pics, and when it's a dick pic. It's like random guy, user 1234, whatever. Yeah.
So it's not.
Yeah, the nickname user.
No profile.
No profile pic. Picture dick pic, definitely. So lots of dick pics and lots of requests, like people actually willing to be paying for like feet pictures all the time. Like there's a feet.
I gotta get my feet game in order.
Yeah, I mean,
fetish culture.
If they probably saw mine, they would regret asking for feet pictures because mine looks like it was ran over by a truck. So, but still,
underground foot fetish people.
Yeah, there's lots of them, and like some other fetish. Like I got nothing against like fetishes, but you know, like I don't want to read about
whatever
that.
makes
I'm
you happy,
like,
people.
yeah,
no,
you know, like
definitely nothing.
There's groups for that, and there's you know like, but not like I'm there for my music. I don't want, so I get like lots of and the worst we got actually, and we collectively got this one. Actually, me and the drummer from the same guy, we got a video of the guy like pleasuring himself while listening to our music. And like actually getting there and showing the result, and we were like, oh dude.
My God, dude.
Yeah, and also I got random weird pics. There was a guy like literally taking a picture of him with his finger in his asshole. Oh. And I was like, I don't get the idea, but well, that was weird.
What do they want you to do with the one? So the guy jerking off to your music. What do they want you to do with that?
What's the plan?
This is cool.
What's
We're gonna
the plan?
repost.
Like, what am I gonna do with a picture of literally the guy fingering his own ass? I'm like, dude, why do I want to see that?
Yeah.
Like,
cool, man. Have a good time.
Dude, thank you. Jeez. Yeah, what a nice way to start my day.
I just don't know what they're expecting people to be like, yo, wow, that's hot. We like you. Come to our show. Put you on the guest list. We want to meet you.
Saying, the response. They want that response.
They do, man.
That attention.
But with these guys, I'm never willing to do that. These guys, I'm not responding,
dude,
even if it is for joking.
Disgusting.
And the weird thing is, like, we get those like weekly, and sometimes I expose them on my stories, and then I get blocked from exposing them. So Instagram, it's not like able to block people from sending me this kind of weird ass content.
Right.
But if I try to expose them, I'm blocked.
Yeah.
So it's so weird. But yeah, guys, please do better, like with your DM. Do better. Learn with the girls. Like, they're always respectful. And, always. like my boyfriend is from the music scene in Brazil. Like, people know him, and still I get weird ass DMs. And, like, my dad is a metalhead. He's there on the internet. He reads like lots of awful shit about me. This girl fucks guys in order to get tours and stuff like that. Oh, that's another thing. Like, us girls, like, never is our hard work. It's always fucking everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
God, man. People just like to make up shit or create their own narrative about people, or you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, it's just sad.
It's sad.
It's sad.
Like, and I'm also sad for these people too.
I mean, really, a lot of them are extremely lonely.
Obviously.
A dark place.
Yeah.
Very dark place.
And for them, like, they may not want a response. Like, if I do this video and send it, that's a turn on for them. I'm just going to send it to them. They see me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I won. They saw it. You know what I mean? Or like,
it's ultimately they see me. That's the thing. And that's sad because, there's sick people out there, like sick. I mean, like mentally ill,
Absolutely.
like me. I have the anxiety disorder, and these people would need help, and instead they're doing whatever they can to, like draw attention or whatever. And that's actually sad. It's funny to tell the stories because they're creepy.
It's crazy.
But
right. Have you ever been completely in fear? Like, have you had any stalker type things?
Threats,
or just like,
I've got a couple of death threats already because of my political views, like against Bolsonaro, that president we had.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I tend to lean toward, left wing and stuff like that politically. And like I get lots of hate for that in Brazil. So I got a couple of death threats.
Wow.
So that got me worried a little bit. But yeah, usually like sometimes we bump into some weirdos at shows.
Right.
And I'm always like, I let our TM know, like, hey, stick around.
Yeah.
Just watch and like, and there are some crazy situations too. Like we have a fan that for some reason, like once I was posting about like, oh, I love cooking and stuff like that.
Oh,
like mainly probably like showing a vegan recipe or stories. And he assumed that I really, really loved cooking. And then he started gifting me knives on tour. And then first time I got, which I love getting gifts on tour.
Yeah,
and he was gifting me like some nice knives, which I still have nowadays. But the first time it happened, like we were in the dressing room, he had like literally a bag of gifts. And I was like, oh, that's cute. And I was there, and then he takes this knife out. I was like, I remember thinking like, okay, that's it. Thank you. I loved life so far. And I remember trying to get my abs like tough because I was like, maybe if he stabs me. So I was talking to him like, because I thought that maybe the muscles would absorb the impact of the knife. I was
my God, dude.
But in the end, it was just like showing me like, and this side of the, I was like, oh yeah. Like, yeah, sure. And then my TM was like, oh, that's fucked up. It was
Holy
afraid.
shit.
Wow.
But yeah, we get weird stuff on tour sometimes, like, but more funny stuff than like crazy stuff.
Damn, I need some cooking knives, and I don't know if I'd be.
You said it right now. Someone's gonna hear you.
First time I was like, I was afraid.
Yeah, I can understand
like,
that would be
really locking my
terrifying.
abs. But yeah, but then it was like, okay, all right. And then he would give like other normal stuff, like actually not that normal. He got me like Brussels sprouts once as a gift because I was a vegan.
Right.
So it was like it was random, but it was cool.
Just like raw Brussels.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't cooked?
No, like raw snacks for the trip. I was like, thank you.
It's like, vegans eat this.
Yeah,
it makes sense. I was like, man, this is healthy. That's sweet.
That's funny.
I remember I walked backstage and I can't even remember where it was. But it was like a potato, carrot, cucumber, and it was just like, here's the vegan food here.
Oh,
and I was like, wow.
Oh, my boyfriend, he's got some weird like touring stories with like vegan because he's been vegan for like nearly 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's got some stories like there. He once told me he was in Europe and it was like a festival in the middle of nowhere. They were driving for forever, that thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then he got to the place, like he was starving. And then there was a huge fire. Like people were, like marshmallows and stuff. And then it was like, okay, what's the dinner? The guy gave him, I swear to God, a stick and a potato and go there to the fire. And then of course the potato burned and then he was eating it raw. And it was like, that was fucking
sounds, I can relate to that. That sounds
totally
so on point, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like totally 100% can happen on tour.
Oh, yeah.
How long have you been vegan for now?
Since 2016. So it's like 7 years now. 7 years.
And what was your inspiration for that?
That was
That's a good question.
Yeah, that was like I'm not gonna say I started off the bad way because there's no such a thing. If you're vegan, it doesn't matter like what led you there. It's just important that you got vegan. That's
totally
it. Like for the animals, it doesn't.
Right.
That's all that matters.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. Exactly. So I started actually. Like, I was dating, actually going out with a guy from Czech Republic. Yeah. And then, and then what? What is this?
No, because I understand dating Czechs.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, and he was actually working with my previous band for a while. And then he was like, okay, spending vacations in Brazil. And I was like, oh, I'm going to join you. I'll show you some nice spots. And then I was like, he was vegan. And he was from the punk hardcore scene. And he was vegan, like hardcore vegan. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to be eating, like steaks in front of you. I'll feel bad.
Yeah.
So I'll be vegan with you during this whole 1 month trip. And my acid reflux was pretty bad at that time. and I was having like stomach issues and stuff like that. Nothing serious, but you know, like it
Yeah.
was bothering me, like heartburns all the time. And then 1 week in being vegan with him, like I was feeling 100% fine.
Damn.
Like we were doing like hiking, like 4 or 5 hour long
Jesus.
hikes, and I was feeling just great as I had never felt
That's
before.
amazing.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, so that's how it feels like, you know, like having
Wow.
a healthy body. so that's how it started.
That's awesome.
For health reasons.
Yeah, totally.
And then like the whole, you know, like the whole understanding about all
It
other
just starts opening up what it's all connected to.
about like the animals
The
and
planet.
the
Yeah.
environmental thing. It came like way later, and yeah, that's how it started, and I never went back. It was I will admit it was really hard in the beginning
I'm sure.
because Brazil is like the meat country.
I know. I was going to say, every time I've been to Brazil at a restaurant with people that weren't vegan, they bring the meat out. They're slicing the meat in front of you on those big things.
The swords, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
meat
eating
on
like
swords.
I'm just eating like lettuce. I'm like the only guy there with my friends. They're slicing it.
Lettuce and French fries. That is
French fries.
So it was hard back then for sure.
It's
yeah.
hard, and like mainly with the cheese and like
Yeah.
all the awesome desserts we have, they're all non-vegan friendly. So it was tough on the beginning, and I have to admit that I
Fucked up here and there.
fucked
Yeah,
up.
you're
here
not
and there.
perfect.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
not
here and
perfect.
there.
You're
Like
doing your best, man.
I was in a dressing room. I didn't know, like, you know, like how to advocate for my veganism and ask for stuff. So there would be
Yeah.
like only cheese pizza. I was like, oh, fuck it, I have to grab a
Yeah.
slice, otherwise I'm gonna die, like starve.
Dude,
So,
totally.
but then like it got easier, and nowadays it's fine. You know, like
so
we
easy
have,
now, man, right?
yeah, I have the Happy Cow app,
Woo!
and then so I know everything vegan around, and
Have you
and
noticed
it's
that
super
there have
easy.
been restaurants and places that you, like cities you've gone to in Brazil, that people reach out to you, like plant-based restaurants or vegan restaurants or chefs?
Yeah. But mostly like people who want to take me to these restaurants,
That's
like
cool.
random fans and stuff like
That's
that.
dope.
I love
Right.
that.
I love
and
it.
I'm always up for that. But yeah, it's been way easier now.
Yeah.
Actually, I found out that actually in Brazil, it's way easier being a vegan. I mean, it's easier in the US and in Europe because you have like plant-based cheese and like
Everything. Yeah,
everything
that stuff,
plant-based. So it's easy like that in this way. But like for having meals, like Brazilian food, in my opinion, is the best food in the whole world because it's so varied. You
Yeah.
have all sorts of greens, all sorts of. So you just go to those buffets,
Yeah.
you know, like
It's
and
like a buffet.
buffet,
Yeah.
yeah. And then you like, it's the easiest for the band. Nowadays,
agree.
I'll say like just get us all like the whole band to a buffet, and then we'll go there and they'll eat their meat stuff, and I'll
Yeah.
have like rice, beans, maniac, all
Great.
sorts of greens, like different
Yeah.
sorts of greens.
Those places where they have the sword and everything, the churrascarias. That's where everyone was trying to take me when I first got to Brazil, and
It's like the traditional spot,
yeah,
right?
traditional.
Yeah.
But then I realized early on there's like a fantastic buffet, like salad
Exactly.
buffets there.
Good.
Even there, they're amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every vegetable and everything's in season.
Okay.
So you have everything there and it's fresh.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind going out the way. I was just like, it was kind of weird at first. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like being around it so much. It doesn't bother me because I used to eat meat, and it's just like, I'm not like, oh my God, get this out of my
Yeah,
face.
I'm also
Yes,
not like that.
Same.
But I'm not going to go there on my own. But I'm just like, going with the flow of everybody going to where they want to eat, and I can survive
Exactly.
really well there.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I don't get bothered to
No.
go in there because I know it's like I'll get good food from
Yeah.
the buffet because they have like artichoke and like asparagus and
yeah.
like everything, like palm.
Everything
Yeah.
fresh.
I like how you say buffet.
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 Are you the only vegan in your band?
Yes.
Are you the only vegan in your band?
Yes.
Same there. All three of us.
Wow.
All three of us. Yeah.
That's amazing.
All three
I didn't
singers.
even
Yeah.
think about that.
Yeah, my whole life in the
Those
band like that. Yeah.
Weird singers.
Yeah.
Freaks.
Freaks.
with your weird diets, and you have to
Weird
like.
oh, yeah. The tons of jokes. Like,
All the
Same,
time.
dude.
And that's the thing. Like usually, at least in Brazil, I don't know how it is. Like, no, actually, from abroad. I mean, like outside of Brazil, because I get comments in English there too on my post about veganism. And the thing is, everyone talks like vegans are so like annoying. They're always trying to get you into being vegan. Never saw a vegan commenting about I prefer my lettuce in a post about a steak. But every time I post any vegan food, I get like 100 comments like, I'd rather be eating my
hamburger,
cattle. Right. I'd rather be eating my chicken.
So
ha ha ha.
Shit's so corny and so fucking played out.
And I was
I'm so over that. It happens all the time.
I really like,
man.
do you really think this is funny? It's not even funny. It's like,
it's
funny,
not
dude.
even funny.
Yeah, it's not even funny. So, and that's always like, vegans are so annoying, but they are the first ones to go there. They cannot see you. Oh, and now there's a new category about people who want to be against veganism, which is like, you can call a plant-based burger a burger. You can call like jackfruit meat. You can call like coconut milk because it's not. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You call animal food. I'm like, why can't
and plants have feelings. Plants are alive too. So
these are the worst.
Plants are living and breathing.
And suddenly, what happens too? Like, no one gives a fuck about your health. If you're eating like whatever unhealthy foods, everyone's like, yeah, cool. The moment you become vegan, everyone becomes a nutritionist around you.
Oh,
Where's your iron?
Protein.
How's your B12? How's your protein? Before, like, if you ate like literally noodles every day, it should be fine. If you're eating like rice, beans, soy, tofu, like very balanced food, you're gonna die. You know that, right? Soon. So I'm like, I don't understand.
Fucking true, though.
It's very true. Yeah, I was like, when did everybody become experts?
Yeah,
like,
everyone around nutritionists.
People get so they look at themselves.
Yeah,
they start thinking about what they eat and what they put in their bodies. When they see what you're doing, they start questioning what they're doing. You have a guilt to it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's definitely a guilt complex going on.
Totally.
Because people get extremely aggressive out of nowhere.
So offended.
Yeah, it's so.
It's just like, what? Where's this coming from? You know, it's just like, I'm just gonna eat my stuff, man. I didn't say anything.
Nothing.
You know, it's like, and then these comments come. It's just like,
yeah, and
jokes.
Like I posted like double bacon cheeseburger, like smoked provolone cheese. Actually, was really good last night. And I started getting the first ones like vegan bacon. Yeah, vegan bacon. Like,
yeah,
what? Why can't I call it vegan bacon? Yeah. Like, is it forbidden? What kind of rule is that? Like, you know, language is the most fluid thing out there. So get out of here. Yeah. Let me eat my vegan bacon in peace.
Do you sing about it now in songs? Talk about animals and stuff, or no?
No, I never did. Like, I probably could have when I was like in Nervosa, my previous band, because it was more about like this Bratis song and stuff like that. But I feel like I get this asked a lot also about like feminism and stuff like that. Yeah. But I'm an advocate for this stuff on my social media a lot already, you know, like, so I try to take turns on what. You know, like, so, and also like in my band, not everyone is vegan. Totally. You know, like, so I want to make sure I write about stuff that they also
represents all of you.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically But on my socials, I'm very active about all this other stuff that I don't write about in my lyrics.
That's cool. Yeah. Was Nervosa, was that your first band you were in?
No. Before Nervosa, I had other, like, it was the first successful band that got me, you know, like touring abroad and releasing records under a label and stuff. Not that there's a measurement for success, but you know what I mean.
What you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. But I had other bands before, like I think like 3 or 4, and curious enough, I was noticing this a couple of years back, all of them all girl. I only played with girls my whole life. Wow. And it was like, I didn't understand back then what it was, but I internally just felt like, okay, there's many guy bands. I want to play with girls because I want to see more girls in the metal scene.
I love that.
And then later on, when I understood I was a feminist, I understood where it came from. I was like, I didn't know I was a feminist, but I was. I was like advocating for more women in metal. And for a while, I like until like, I don't know, like 7 years ago, stuff like that. I would not like, I play with girls only, but it's actually, no, it's an equal scene, and we should not, I don't like being called female fronted or all girl band, but now I do. To me now it's a flag. Very
proudly.
Yeah, because I just explained the struggles, the specific struggles we go through because we're women in metal. So now I am a proud advocate for women in metal, and all female band. Yeah, all female band, and I'm so proud of that, and I want to see more of that because we know how to be an all female band in the road. It's very specific, so I'm very comfortable with the terminology nowadays.
Yeah, it'd be cool
until it's more equal. I'll use it.
It'd be cool to jump in a van with an all girl band and see the day in the life, as opposed to how we've been traveling our whole lives. Just
absolutely.
Like the different things they do or eat or go to, or I don't know, get ready for the show. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool just to see that.
Yeah, it's
different perspective. I like that.
We do we feel for us it's normal. We don't do like men except for the makeup, but like black metal guys, they're also putting makeup on. Yeah. So it's in a different way. So it's basically the same thing. It's really the
conversation probably different, or maybe the music you're listening to, or what are you guys doing your days off usually?
It depends on us girls. Like we all have very different characters. I'm the most adventurous one, so I always like to, like walk. Even if it's just a walk, I want to feel the city and like how things work on that particular city, and of course like going like, for example,
find a good food spot too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm always going for the vegan restaurants and finding out new joints and stuff. But also like I love nature, so I'm always finding a nice park around, or like, and for example, the day before our show in New York, I'm going to go to, there's going to be a day off. I'm going to go
to... Where's the show in New York?
When?
What venue?
What venue, Curious.
Gramercy
Theater. Great spot.
It's going to be nice.
Great spot.
And a day before, my boyfriend will be here in the U.S. and we'll go to Six Flags Adventure there in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So that's how I enjoy
that's cool.
days off. So it really depends on each of us, but I would say it's basically the same things as guys. And I notice when we are on tour with other people, guys get way more uncomfortable than we do, because like they don't want to be disrespectful, which is cute. Like it's really nice.
Intimidated. Yeah.
It's the whole other side from the finger in the ass picture. On the DM. Yeah. It's on tour, like with most of the bands we've been. Oh, I remember a couple of stories. But usually the guys are very
respectful.
Yeah, and like they're like, oh, I don't know how to approach, or
they're walking on eggshells around them.
Yeah. And I understand where that comes from, and I really appreciate that. But we always say like, hey, chill, it's fine. We're like, I'll give you I'll give you room for, like doing whatever you want to do, like in a chill way. You don't need to be walking in eggshells and stuff like that. But I also got a message one of these days, like, I doubt you girls fart on these RVs.
I was just going to say this right now. Like, you guys fart, burp and shit like everybody else does.
Of course. You know what I mean? And like, we can do that a lot. Me and Luana, we're like atomic bombs, but Luana, our drummer.
Vegan too.
Yeah, like give me some chickpeas and I'll give you some nice atomic fart. But like our drummer, it's insane.
Wow,
like I don't know. She's lactose intolerant, so those farts are like,
damn, she get blown up right now in the pot.
She's like still on the dairy, like
yeah, but way less. Like she's always like, whenever I buy like oat milk or oat ice cream and like almond or whatever, she always prefers to have that with me.
But you girls can hang. You're like, yeah, we do the same shit.
Yeah, of course. But then I remember a nice story. I was meditating in the van. And then I was like far away, and I needed to instantly came back because like Luana farted so bad right next to me that it got in my meditation. I was like, what the fuck? She was like, I'm sorry. So
it fogged your,
we do fart. In case you have doubt if women fart, we do fart a lot. So it's fine. What I was mentioning this is a side weird story, but that's why I said like usually most of the bands are like really respectful towards us, but sometimes it happens stuff like it happened once on tour with me, and I will not mention the band because whatever, we don't need that. But there's this toilet in the tour buses where you can't
only number one
throw only number one, and you can't throw exactly.
No
and there was
none of that stuff, nothing. Yeah.
And there was like this big chunk of like paper with blood on it, and it was like clogging the thing, but it was you could see, because you know, like I get my period every month, so I know how it, you know, so I could see it was like from someone who cut their fingers or whatever.
Okay.
And then the guy from one of the bands came to me and like, you know, you can't do that. I was like, why do you think it was us? I mean, who are the only ones who get their periods in this bus? I was like, do you want to check if I have my period on? I literally said that. And it was like, no. I was like, so don't assume that. It was probably one of your roadies that were like, you know, like doing whatever.
Yeah.
And then just because I get my periods every month, which is something, you know, like, it's not that cool if you want to know. Like, you come, if you want to tell me that I'm clogging, you're like, oh, go sleep, you know. But I actually told him, like, you want to check? I can show you. But you get this kind of thing too on Twitter.
Totally different subject. Have you always played bass and sang?
No, that's a very good question. As I mentioned, I started.
Because it's very difficult to play and sing.
It is.
I can't imagine doing that shit.
It is, to be honest. And I don't think I started advocating for this a couple of days ago. I was like, no, you know, we don't get praised for that much, because it's not easy, you know, like people who can sing and play, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And it's not something you do once and you're fine for the rest of your life. Every new record we have, it's a struggle, you know, like, because while you're practicing the songs, it's always like this fucking part. I just kind of it is hard. So yeah, I started off like singing with my clean vocals, and then I started play bass simultaneously. But in all my previous bands before Nervosa, I would only play the bass guitar, and I loved doing that. But then on my band before Nervosa, I would do backing vocals too. That was basically just screaming. And in Nervosa, when we got the band together, I was looking for a drummer and a guitarist, and they were a guitarist and a drummer looking for a bassist and a singer. So we joined forces, and I was like, I mean, I'm not a singer, but I can try and sing until we get, like, you know, someone who can actually sing. But then they liked, and then I started doing that. And it was tough on the beginning. It was really tough. You can see my stage performance. If you see like old videos from Nervosa, it's very limited because I was still getting comfortable with that. But now I develop my own technique, which is like, I really learned the song by heart, like separately. Bass guitar, it needs to be like and voice also, like the vocal lines. So when I have both of them really memorized, that's when I blend both, because it gets easier. So on the difficult bass parts, I put the vocals on automatic mode, on autopilot, and then focus on bass guitar. When there's a long scream or a more complicated, more demanding part on vocals, then I put the bass on autopilot. So that's how I do it. And it gets easier with time, but it's always going to be a struggle with new songs, because it takes a while. It's different. You know, like it's not easy, but that's how I do it. I just memorize it, like as much as I can, and then I'll just blend them in the best way I can. And also what I started doing, because when I was playing bass guitar only, I would, you know, like do lots of more elaborate stuff. And when I started going more professionally into singing and playing at the same time, I started dividing my you know, like my live performance into 3 parts: 33% vocals, 33% bass, and 33% performance.
Wow.
So I try and balance this a lot. And so my vocal lines, they're very simple. My bass guitar lines, they're very simple, like the basics. But all of them together, they like they
complement each
work
other.
well. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I gotta get. I'd rather, and I have nothing against whoever does that, but to me, it wouldn't work if I did like many complicated stuff on bass, and then I would have to be like just there standing, because I like to.
You want to go
run,
off? Yeah.
And do my stuff. And for that, you gotta do simple, unless you practice a lot, which I don't. So.
And you're playing with your fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My finger. And I can even hold a pick properly, because I learned that from my dad.
From Steve Harris.
Yeah.
From Pops. Yeah.
My
From Pops.
dad, my dad loves Steve Harris. Steve Harris was playing with his fingers, so it was something natural. I learned how to play like that.
Trujillo.
Oh, he does too, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's a badass too. Man.
He's when him and Suicidal Tendencies is like.
They played here last night.
Really?
And his son plays in the band now.
Oh.
I know, but his son's a ripper too, man.
That's amazing.
He's incredible.
Do you have any rituals you do before you go on stage?
Yeah, less than I should too, but usually I have more rituals to deal with anxiety. I don't have stage fright or anything like that. But I don't like waiting. I don't like standing still. And that's, like touring is basically waiting.
It's all
day long.
All about waiting.
All day long.
All about waiting. So
hurry up and wait.
Yeah, hurry up and wait. That's it. So I'm like, it's hard for me to deal with it, because I'm very energetic. I'm always doing stuff.
Good energy.
And so being there, sitting in the dressing room, it's
rough,
hard.
man.
So with my therapist, it got better, because she helped me like making a list of stuff that can help me out. So sometimes I'm gonna meditate. Sometimes I'll just be jumping and doing the, and sometimes
Jumping
I'll just
jacks.
listening to my favorite songs and stuff like that.
So Beyonce.
Definitely. Of course, like formation. Okay, ladies, now let's get information, because I'll slay. And then
Okay, I'll slay.
I'll slay. So this kind of stuff is more of a ritual than like actually getting ready for bass and for vocals, because again, all I do is very simple. Sometimes, of course, when it's too cold, I do some warm up, and for vocals, like my main ritual is like, of course, resting a lot, but hydration.
Like so important.
I drink before the show at least like 2 bottles of water, during the show 2-3 bottles of water, after the show, and then I'm gonna be peeing every 10 minutes for like 5 hours after the show.
And Toby, you're the same way? You drink a lot before the show or during the show?
During the show, I have maybe 1 to 2 bottles, but mostly I drink
2 bottles?
I drink a lot after, though, to be honest, man.
Oh,
yeah, me too.
But I do drink some leading up to, but I don't want to have to go pee before I play. I always have to go pee before I play.
Me too.
I always have to go.
About what other people are doing, but I'm drinking maybe 3 or 4 sips of water during the whole
bro,
show.
that's crazy.
That's insane.
I can't drink half a bottle of water on stage, or I have horrible cramps.
Damn.
Oh, because you're using. Okay.
I was drinking the bubble water in Europe on stage sometimes.
Absolutely
I don't
not.
know
I would
why.
just be like, this next
Yeah,
song.
I was burping on stage.
Yeah.
I like it though.
I
I don't know.
I
It was
love it.
It's just something
It's
different.
refreshing as hell. As much as I want to, I'm like,
And it sounds cool on microphone, like.
oh, that's
Yeah.
true. You'd be like, in this next song.
How many years you been a full-time musician now?
Full time.
Like what was your last real job?
I was teaching English. I know my English is not the best one,
That's
but
good.
I could still teach, like basic, intermediate level. And I was teaching since I was 15 to kids. I started teaching like the basics for kids at the school I was, I actually learned how to speak English. Yeah. And then I was there at that school teaching for like a little over 5 years, I guess. And then I was doing like teaching private classes. And then I think I only quit teaching around 2018.
Okay.
Yeah,
17, 18. So some years ago.
Yeah.
Because then like I was full-time working for my band Nervosa at the time. And we were able to get like some financial feedback.
Yep.
Because I mean, when you go to Europe or the US and you come back with the currency, it's good for us because it's going to be 5 times that, and it's
sick.
So if you save of course I don't have, ever since I don't have like a very stable financial situation, and also I can't afford, like I don't have like health insurance. I don't have like any of these, like I have a tiny motorcycle. So I can't afford much, but I can live comfortably. Like still have my bucks to go and eat on my favorite vegan spots in Brazil and live a comfortable life. Help my mom a little bit.
That's nice.
So if I can save properly, I can do well. And also there's like royalty, like sales royalties money that in euros and in dollars, it's not a lot, but when I convert that to my currency, it really helps pay a couple of bills every 3 months,
What's like average rent in Sao Paulo, like for a 1-bedroom or something?
Oh man.
Compared to the US.
I don't even know anymore.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. Like our minimum, because it's hard to say, like if I say that in dollars, you're going to be saying, okay, that's fairly cheap. But comparing to our minimum wage in Brazil, it's going to be in our currency, 1,000 reais, which is our, it should
monthly.
Be like
That's a month?
Yeah, but the minimum wage.
What was that in US?
Because it's nothing, right?
Wow.
Yeah, that would be
now,
like $200, but that's minimum. Usually people live off for like 2 minimum wages, 3 minimum wages. That's the average in Brazil.
Wow.
Which would be like $600.
Working so hard, yeah.
Yeah, but so people usually get like three minimum wages, like around 3,000 and 5,000 reais a month. That would be the average, and then rent is like 2,000 reais a month. So it doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
It doesn't make any sense. Everything's so expensive in Brazil. I love my country.
Paulo,
I feel like I'm like saying lots of bad things about my country. I love Brazil. I would never live anywhere else.
Yeah.
Although I love traveling. I love, love touring the US is so magical, but I love Brazil. I love the people.
You're home, yeah.
And but still like, oh, it's so expensive living in there. Although São Paulo mainly, it's fucked up. Although I felt a difference, I've been to the US 7 years ago with Nervosa, and I could really feel the difference here in the US too, like the prices of stuff. I was really surprised because I was coming with a mindset from the other tour, and I was like, oh, damn, it's not like $7 to eat anymore. It's definitely not.
I mean, Taco Bell still maybe. Vegan,
not even fast.
Not even.
Probably
It's like I remember I would spend like $5 and eat a lot at Taco Bell. Not like this anymore. And last night I spent. Of course, I ate probably like 2 kilos worth of food last night, but I spent like $35. I was like, damn, that's expensive.
That's crazy. If you break it down for Brazil,
Rule number 1. Never convert the currency on your mind. If you're a Brazilian, never do that, because then I would have spent like over $150 eating. I was like, no.
Damn, dude. It's a lot of money. $35.
That's fucking crazy.
You can eat in Brazil. I was eating in dollars, full buffet, all you can eat, fresh juice, dessert included, all you can eat.
Sounds like a commercial.
Yeah.
$7.50.
Damn.
$8 maximum.
Maximum, exactly.
No
That's
tip.
Crazy.
No tip.
No tip.
No
That's the
tax.
thing that I was shocked when I first got to the States, because
The tipping.
we didn't know, and
We
people
did
were
many
so
arguments
rude
on
towards
Twitter, like, yo, you cheap bastards.
like
Get back here. And they're like, what?
the cab driver, when we arrived, like our first thing in the US, like we played 70K, that cruise, like the metal cruise.
70,000 tons of metal.
And then like we took a cab there, and we had lots of suitcases and instruments, and the guy was helping us out. And then how much was the ride here? And he was like,
Thanks.
I helped you carrying the bag and you're not tipping me. I was like, are we supposed to? And we didn't know. And we were like, we were at the Rainbow Bar too, like once on the beginning. And
oh boy,
how much is the check? That. And then we paid, and the girls, she was like out of her mind and discussing with the other guy. And we were like, did we do something wrong? And then she was like, was my service bad? we were like, no, you were so lovely. So why aren't you tipping? And I was like, hey, we didn't know we were supposed to. Because like in some restaurants in Brazil, there's the 10% tip.
10%, yeah.
Yeah, but like it's some of them. If you go like to all you can eat buffets, there's no tipping. So we didn't know. So guys, please be patient with us, you know, like from other countries, because we just don't know, you know, like it takes a while till we get used to it. And for us, you know, like, so it's just a different world.
Coming back to the USA, it was like, I was like, I got so used
Spoiled?
to Brazilian style.
Yeah.
And so then I was just like, even ordering like online, I was like, why is it so expensive? It's like double the food. Exactly. It'd be like the tax, the delivery, and the tip on top of that. And I was like, it's not even worth it. You know, it's just, I just paid, you know.
I know, it's true.
And I understand, but it's just so a different world. And also there's the tax thing, because in Brazil it's all included already. You don't even know what is tax and whatever. So Brazilian bands, like most of them, you know, like underground bands, when they come touring the US, we come in on a budget, like definitely on a budget. So we're not when we first came here, we were not counting on taxes and tipping. So we were like, okay, how much is this? It's that. And then you go to the counter and it's like a whole different price. We were like, I was not counting on that. So it's different.
Damn. Here's super random. Do you have any regrets in your life?
Wow. Actually, that's exactly what my tattoo, the Edith Piaf, the French singer tattoo I have. It's in French, je ne regrette rien, which is I don't regret anything.
There you go.
There's your answer.
There's your answer right in your face.
Although I have a hard time dealing with, you know, like struggles because of the anxiety. I'm a very sensitive person too. Although sometimes when I'm going through some shit, I'm like, oh, no, why? But after I go through that, I understand that everything happens for a reason. A purpose.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring the toxic positivity into the table. It's not about that. But it does, you know, like even when I left Nervosa, for example, I thought I was going to die. It was so hard on me, but still I never regret my decision. Never regret, because I knew somehow it was the right thing. And now I see it was like I'm here having fun with my band. Other girls are living their dreams on that band in Nervosa. So
you're in my kitchen.
It happened. Exactly. So it happened for a reason. And I was able to, you know, like absorb the knowledge and the lessons from there. And so I do not regret it, because even my mistakes, they led me to where I am now. So that was philosophical.
It was great. No, you killed that. Very true. Do you consider yourself an optimist or pessimist? You know what that means?
Yes.
Okay. You have such amazing positive energy, though.
Thank you.
You have such a good aura about you.
I think I'm overall an optimistic person. But again, when I'm struggling, I tend to get very pessimistic.
Get dark.
Yeah, but it's also the anxiety speaking, because that's anxiety, a voice in your head telling you suck all the time. So when I'm struggling, I tend to be very pessimistic about everything, about life, about myself, about everything. And also when I'm about to get my period too, I get very pessimistic. And but when I get out of these, you know, like dark places, I tend to be more optimistic.
Yeah. And what do you think causes your anxieties? But you've been like that your whole life?
Now going to therapy, I figured yes, probably, but I didn't know. But I really my anxiety started giving me the ultimatum. Yeah. About taking care of myself around 2019.
Right before the pandemic.
Right
before, damn.
It was a tough period, I can say. I can tell it was fucked up. Leaving the band, I was for almost a decade.
Wow.
Pandemic, getting acquainted with my anxiety disorder, it was tough.
Yeah.
So by the end of 2019, you know, like I felt the vibe in Nervosa was not, it was the first times the thought of actually leaving the band was showing up, and I was like brushing it off, like, no, I don't want to think about this. but then my body was, like telling me that. So I started having, by the end of 2019, I was starting to get really anxious and have like, really exhausted and starting getting anxious symptoms here and there, like not wanting to see my phone and check messages because I knew I would be anxious.
That right there causes so much of that shit for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then I started having like neck pain all the time. And then I started doing yoga, and I knew it was anxiety because one day I was like checking, I was like, let's see. And then I started like, oh, nearly all the symptoms might be that. But still I was denying it to myself because of thank you society that turns mental issues into a taboo and prevents people from getting help because you feel you're inadequate and going insane, and it's nothing like that. We should all go to therapy. I just
started going too, First time ever,
So I was like really uncomfortable with the idea of being anxious, but still like it was drawing near and near. And then I remember on the beginning of 2020, we were touring during the pandemic.
Wow.
Like on the beginning when, like there's this virus there and we didn't know. I was still on the road. Actually, I had a tour in Asia in January 2020.
Wow.
That was awful for my anxiety, which
sure.
I was not diagnosed at the time, but it was awful. And we didn't know what to do. So we were like wearing those rubber gloves everywhere because we didn't know. We have no and I remember something like we were about thinking of canceling the Thailand show when we were there because there were like 20 confirmed cases of COVID. And we were like, and then like millions of dead people later.
Oh, yes.
That's insane, right? We were like, 20 people had this in the country. We're going to get it. And anyways, and then on that tour, we went to Scandinavia, and there my anxiety really started kicking in pretty bad. So I was like sweating all the time when I was sleeping and like heart racing all the time until I had my first anxiety attack on tour, and I didn't know what that is. I was just like
something. A heart attack, something.
Mine is not that way. It's more like I feel like I'm losing control and I'm gonna go insane. And then I was like, something triggered me real bad, and I felt like, okay, I need to get out of this place. And then I was in Sweden. Then I climbed the street up, and then I fell on the floor and started crying and having a breakdown. And then people were, and I was like, okay, there's something wrong in there. But then I quit the band and Nervosa in April 2020. That was a tough period too. But then I was fine for a while because I was home. I was taking care of myself. So it was balanced. But then when we started recording our album and Nervosa was releasing their album, and I started getting like shitloads of awful messages like, hey, Nervosa dropped their new album. I hope you're down in the pit because that's where you deserve to be. Now they have like a new real singer. You're fucking terrible.
Wow. Fuck all these people we're never going to meet, first and foremost. These strangers that are fucking with you mentally. It's so fucking trash.
And that triggered me for some reason that now I understand. And then it was fucked up. Then I went downwards. I was having panic attacks. Then it evolved to panic attacks. And I started having panic attacks while recording vocals for the first album. Man. It was awful. Wow. Now it's I'm starting to be open talking about this
I appreciate
now.
you talking about it. It's important.
Yeah. But it was tough. And then I remember clearly like that I was like, I'll probably need therapy because it's getting out of control. And I remember my drummer saying, hey, I think I was having a panic attack. And then she was like, I think because panic attacks, they're terrifying for those who are feeling and who's watching you have a panic attack because it's insane. And then I remember her telling you probably need a therapist. So I finished recording the album, and I looked for a therapist and an acupuncturist too because I was not sleeping well, so my body was also suffering from that. So I started going to therapy in late February 2021 finally. So it's been 2 years, a little over 2 years, and it's the best thing I ever did for myself.
That's awesome.
It's the bravest act of radical self-love you can have is going to therapy.
I agree.
Because both you face your demons and you admit to yourself that are parts of yourself that are not cool, but perfect. It's fine.
Yeah.
As all of us, have. And also, but it also really helped me with my anxiety and panic attacks. I haven't had one for over a year now. And I was having them daily.
It's awesome.
So it's been great. And now I still get, now it sort of feels like the Pandora box of like mental struggles opened. So I'm dealing with many different, anxiety was one thing, but now I'm dealing with like some other stuff and like some trauma here and there. And it feels great. It's sad and it's lonely sometimes, but I feel like I'm faster and faster going towards my best self, which I haven't met so far. And I've done, and I even get a little bit emotional by saying that, but I feel honestly so happy about myself, like how much I could accomplish while being anxious, even though I didn't know I was. I didn't know I had the anxiety disorder, and I still accomplished so much, and I'm so proud of myself for that.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's still at the same time, it makes me feel like very joyful about the future. Like if I accomplish that much, so I still have a lot to accomplish. So in this way, I'm very optimistic. Finally, sorry.
You're in a good place.
Yeah,
you're in a great place.
I am. I'm still like anxiety and all the mental illnesses. They're always like the healing journey is always like very. There's not a pattern.
It's a roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster. So in November, I was having like a couple of breakdowns. Didn't have an anxiety attack, but I was struggling emotionally with a couple of stuff. But now I'm doing all right. But so it's back and forth. But even like on my darkest periods now, they can't even compare to the darkest shit I was having while having like panic attacks. Now I have some tools. I know I'm backed up with my therapist, and like I have a close circle of friends that
support system.
So a support system, exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's beautiful.
I feel I'm doing all right. I'm very impatient about everything I want to accomplish, and like all the improvements I want to have with my mental issues. But I think I'm doing all right. I think I'm doing great.
This has been an amazing conversation, man. I'm so happy you made this happen and had her come here. And
I'm so happy that, it was really your suggestion as well. You're like, oh, we should get on. I was like, wait a minute. It's like, of course, they're coming. It just seemed to really work out in the perfect way. And
thank you. I love the talk.
It's incredible. Like, so I don't know.
And I knew that already. I was like, she's really good. Like, I remember hosting and having really good questions and being very articulate with everything that you wanted to say. And it was just like, oh, this is perfect. And you guys have been doing so well, the band, and just, you're always on the go. Like, I was always impressed with your work ethic. It's like really, I don't know many bands that have that ability. It's really not easy. And it's one of the most difficult things, as we all know, is to tour and to be on the road and to keep it together.
It's a grind, man. It's a grind.
It's a grind, right?
Grind.
But we have to do it.
Thank you. Yeah. I'll take these compliments dearly. It truly means a lot.
So Echoes of the Soul, that's the newest album?
Yeah, it's our we're promoting this album. It's our first record, Echoes of the Soul.
Yeah, I was going to say that. First album. Wow.
First and only. Yeah, and but our new album is being mixed as we speak.
A new album, okay.
Yeah, nice. And it's going to be dropped soon. I can't say the date, the label. I understand, like, they want to be secret.
What label are you guys
Napalm
on?
Records.
Oh, nice.
It's from Austria. They're a very nice label.
Okay.
And I used to work with them in Nervosa. I remember like me discussing the first deal when we were there, and they were always super nice. So when I quit Nervosa, I sent them an email, like, of course, very sensitive, like, oh, it's been a pleasure working with you guys. I'm gonna miss you all. You felt like family to me. And the big boss there told me, like, if you're having another project, I want to be the first one to listen.
So cool.
That's great.
And that's what I did. And then, like, sent an awful demo to them, and they saw like all the social media hype that was going on, and it was like, let's sign. And I couldn't believe, because I was like very struggling a lot with my anxiety. So I was like, okay, my career's done. I'm done. I'm never going to be relevant again. I'm done. I'm going to, all this intrusive,
Your mind is powerful too, man.
Yeah. So I was like so to me, it was a surprise that they wanted to sign me. And my friends were like, of course, because I was dealing with the label for the whole time I was in Nervosa.
Yeah.
I was the one dealing with all the bureaucratic planning stuff. So now I see it was a natural thing because we always had a good relationship.
Yeah.
And we had good fruits with Nervosa, and we're doing great with Crypta, and they love it and they're happy. And they have good plans for the future, and I'm so happy.
Good.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Happy ending.
Happy ending.
Well, I really appreciate you being here, and it was
It's been
so stoked to meet you. Love your energy. Love your story.
Thank you.
Time to get some food with you now.
Yeah.
And see you play tonight. I'm stoked to see you play.
Yeah,
Now I really want to see you play.
Oh, yeah.
That's the perfect day to me because I'm like hanging out with friends, like talking, which is one of the things I love doing the most. then vegan food and then playing.
Sure,
That's fucking perfect.
Well, thank you
so
for
much.
being here.
Yeah,
And
it's been a pleasure.
people can find you on the internet just under your name, your personal account, right?
Yeah. My Instagram, it's
In the band.
FEFE metal.
Okay.
In Portuguese, Fefe Metal. In here in English, I learned it's like Fifi Metal.
Fifi
I
Metal,
thought it was
okay.
cute, but
Ooh, Fifi.
Fifi Metal.
Fifi metal.
And it's strange because in Portuguese, Fifi, it's someone who likes gossip and telling gossips all the time. So it
Ooh.
sounded
That I did
good.
not
It
know.
sounded cool. No, definitely not me. No.
And do you have a top 5 artists or musicians?
These are always so
And I know
difficult to
be
me.
really diverse too.
Okay, so
No pressure.
Amy Winehouse, I love her. I love her music. I love the passion she put in her music. I love her
Incredible,
personality.
man.
She was very honest
Extremely.
about everything and about herself, and I really love that. So
Real
I
shitty
think,
dad too.
yeah.
The documentaries are heavy, man.
Yeah.
Really fucked up, man.
Yeah.
And that boyfriend she had, whatever. We're not getting into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
otherwise it's going to be a full podcast on it.
Oh, we'll do one someday with you, yeah. Because we love her in this house. Yeah.
Beyonce, me too.
Queen B.
Queen B, Beyonce, and some other bands. I don't want to be. It's not because he's here. But
I saw your
also-
tattoo, so
yeah. But also, Sepultura is a very important band to me because it was the band that showed me that it's okay to be Brazilian, Latin American, fucked up, have a fucked up life, and still make it. That message was very important to me. Because it's inspirational.
Yeah,
it's always
totally.
been inspirational. So if
Yeah.
I'm here playing, it's because of Sepultura.
Damn. Get your
And-
flowers, son. Get your flowers.
I got them ready.
So Sepultura, Beyonce, Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse, and
Hard.
I'll have to say Iron Maiden because
Dope.
Iron Maiden, it was the band that made me want to play the bass guitar, and Nuclear Assault.
Wow.
Wow.
Why?
New York,
Because
represent.
Is that Danny Luker?
Yes.
Shout out to Danny Luker. OG.
Yeah.
OG
bro.
Danny, man. Love
Wow.
That.
That's
Wow.
such a
That's
diverse-
surprising to hear.
yeah, it's my favorite thrash metal band, and they were the band that made me wanna be in a band professionally. I was like, I wanna play thrash metal, and I wanna be in a band, and that's what I wanna do. And I was really into thrash metal at that time. And Nuclear Assault, like I remember it was the first band that inspired me on writing riffs and stuff like that for my band. So they're a huge
Cool.
influence.
That's the most original top 5 ever on this
Yeah.
podcast. Nobody's ever put Amy Winehouse in the top 5 on here.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
Wow.
And with Sepultura too.
Right.
And
Yeah, I never
Beyonce.
imagined-
Beyonce. You up there with-
Beyonce and Nuclear Assault on the same top 5.
know.
That's very varied.
But I love that. I can relate to that because I love all types of music. That's amazing, man. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fuck.
Aw.
Well, you're the best, and thank you for being
Oh,
here.
thank you. Such
Anything
a
else,
pleasure.
G?
That's it, man. I can't wait to see the show.
Me too.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be cool to see you in your element.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
Like,
me all the time. Actually,
just like on there. Okay. Awesome. Okay, we
Thank
out
you
here. We're gonna
again.
get thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye. I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swiped the credit card. Don't really tell me much. Didn't give me much details of anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years I have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life One Chance podcast is now with Removery. I have a code. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. Call 866-934-4570 or go to Removery.com. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Over 600,000 removal treatments done. 100 locations, US, Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art peak-away laser technology, cryotechnology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Once again, go to Removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out. Yo, people always ask me what kind of frames I'm rocking. I've been rocking Caddis for a couple years. They make amazing progressive readers, which I wear. Also, they make sunglass readers, anti-glare, anti-smudge coating, anti-scratch, and anti-aging. That's why I look mad young when I wear them. I'm just kidding. But they make amazing frames. Caddis, so stoked to have you guys part of the podcast. You can go to caddislife.com/Toby10 and get $10 off your first purchase. Stoked. Thank you, Caddis. Welcome to the fam. Yo, Liquid Death, thank you so much for hydrating all my guests, taking care of me and my family and my friends. Love your water, love your brand, love what you stand for, love what you give back to the community. If you want to learn more about Liquid Death and how it started, listen to episode 115 with the co-founder, owner, and creator of Liquid Death, Mike Cesario. Just a punk rock skateboarding kid from Delaware with a dream. It's an incredible story, incredible journey. They have now blessed me with my own code. So if you go liquiddeath.com/Toby, you get free shipping on any items you order from liquiddeath.com. Thank you so much, Liquid Death. Death to plastic, murder your thirst. Stay hydrated. You know H2O saves lives.